Hey everyone, today we're going to be reviewing how to solve quadratics when they're already in factored form. So that's good news for us. We have one less step we have to do because each of the equations will already be factored. What does that mean? It's going to be written as the product of two binomials, like this example here, or sometimes it'll just be the greatest common factor that's factored out of the quadratic, but they will already be just like this in these forms here, in factored form. So a graph of a quadratic can look a little bit different. You can have a graph hit the x-axis in 2 points, as it does in this top picture here. And what that means is we have two solutions. So when we're solving it, we're going to have two answers, -1 and +2. That's where the graph will hit that x-axis. And we always make sure we show that zero product property. Set each of the factors equal to 0 and then solve. A quadratic might only touch that x-axis in 1 point, as it does right here at +2. So when you have something like that, you have the same factor just twice. So it's a quantity of x minus 2 times x minus 2. So you only have to write that once when you solve it, because you're going to get the solution of x is 2. Sometimes quadratics do not have real solutions. So let me just make a sketch, and we're not going to have any of those today because everything's factored, and if you had something like this, it wouldn't be factored the way we normally did. So if I had a graph like that, does it ever hit the x-axis? No, so that would be no real solutions. We'll save that for a rainy day next year. All right, so now we're going to get to the notes that you have printed out, or you'll write them down on another piece of paper. Okay, so here are the problems we're going to look at. So what we're going to do, and I'm just going to change up and get a different color here, is we're going to take both of those factors and we're going to set them equal to 0. So n plus 8 equals 0. And then we're going to do the other factor, n minus 1 equals 0. And we're going to solve for n. So n, subtract 8 from both sides, is -8. And here we add 1 to both sides, we get n is 1. So what are the answers here? The answers are -8 and +1. Just going to circle those there. Go ahead and try number 2 on your own. Hopefully you're writing the two factors set it equal to 0. So we'll add 3 to both sides, and because I'm not that good with the computer, I'm just going to add the 3 without showing the work there. And then I divide by 8. I do have enough room to squeeze that in. So n is 3 over 8, and do not grab a calculator. Leave it just like that. It's a fraction in simplest form. And then the second one, we can add 2 to both sides, and we get n is 2. So hopefully you were able to do that one on your own, and we get those as our answers. Why don't you hit pause and try numbers 3 and 4, and then you can check to see if you have the right work. And I will do the same, and we'll come back together in just a moment. So hit pause now and try 3 and 4 on your own. So hopefully you were able to have some success on those, and I just want to point out this step here, you need to show this step. Set each factor equal to 0. So don't just say, hey, I have the answers here, and just say n is -3 and n is 6. Show that work there. That's what we're looking for. So 4, you have 5/3 and 7/3 for your solutions. I'm going to skip over 5 and 6 and 7 actually for a moment and jump down to problem number 8 to show you how to do that. So for problem 8, I want to just point out to you that you have a monomial, just 8p out in front of the parentheses. And then you have that p plus 2 as your other factor. So you have to make sure you say, hey, 8p could be the 0 part, and p plus 2 could be that factor that's equal to 0. So when we divide by 8, we get 0. And when we subtract 2, we get -2. So our answers here are 0 and -2. That's one that people sometimes have a hard time on because it's your GCF. So if you feel pretty confident, go ahead, hit pause, try the others on your own, If you need more help, I'll walk you through one more. And if you just try them on your own, please make sure you check your answers to make sure you're doing them correctly. So if you wanted a little bit more help, why don't I show you how to do number 10? So 10, I would set both factors equal to 0. There's a 7 out in front. That does not have a variable, so we just leave it alone. So we get p minus 4 equals 0, p minus 6 equals 0. So I add 4 to both sides. And then I add 6 to both sides. So I get 4 and 6. All right, so now pause it if you didn't earlier and finish those off, and then hit the unpause button and check your work. So let's go over the answers for those last few, and I might repeat some of that we did together as well. So 5, we get 7 over 4 and 2. Number 6, we get negative 4, negative 8. 7 is negative 4 and negative 7. 8, again, you have that p is 0 and negative 2. For 9, I'm not sure if you noticed, we have the same factor. We only have to write it once. So we get a is 4, and then 10 is positive 4 and positive 6. So again, these are in factored form, which is great. You just need to make sure you show that zero product property with your notes, solve for the variable, and then you can send that in to us. Have a great one. Enjoy the sunshine.